Well, we're going to have a little walk around the garden here at Blakeney, North Norfolk coast. We've got a lovely sunny afternoon. There's a bit of a breeze blowing up, so I don't know quite how much wind noise we're going to get, but we'll go and have a walk around this garden and see what's happening in the middle of April. Lots of things herbaceous wise coming through on this gravel. Lovely big geraniums here, agapanthus in the pots, still only just starting to emerge this time of year. Vinca major manages to run all through this shady area under one of these specimen bushes that forms the structure here in Blakeney. Amelanchier is really doing its thing at this time of year, at its best. Just let's have a look at that. Beautiful white flowering tree with the copper bronzy foliage just starting to emerge. I'll give you a close-up look at some of that flower. Here we are. Very little scent off it, I have to say, but it's nonetheless spectacular at a distance. Sheer volume of white petals on the flower sprays really does give some distance impact on this tree. It's a lovely thing to have, and then you get the beautiful copper red foliage in autumn. Hyacinths here have been flowering for around 3 weeks and they're just coming to the end now, looking a little sad for themselves, but what's continuing to flower beautifully is this primrose, which does its thing throughout April and into May, and this beautiful little plant that's coming into its own now, flowering away. It's a biannual this. It's called Honesty. It's been flowering here in this sheltered position on the eastern aspect of this border all over winter. Hello dog. Yeah, I'm being mugged by a Weimaraner. And these giant snowdrop snowflakes cascading here, been flowering for about 3 weeks now, starting to set some seed, going over a little bit. It's been far more upright than that, but it's doing very nicely and still giving an impact from a distance. This is one of my favourite flowering currants of all of them. I think it's probably King Edward VII, the darkest red of all of them that we've grown. Beautiful rich colour, good volume of flowers on this medium-sized bush, a little overwhelmed by the large buddleia above it and the flowering plum in the hedge behind, but it's got a sunny position here and manages to flower really well every year. What's coming up underneath it is the Japanese anemones we show you every year, really starting to emerge from their winter hibernation now and putting up masses of this really luxuriant, fresh, looks like grapevine leaves really, doesn't it, at this stage, but they're lovely, really catching the morning sun beautifully here. The muscari on the back of the cottage, thanks Laura, really still flowering nicely, coming to the end. Just the tips now flowering, but the blue clumps there of all of the muscari in this garden really benefit from the sunlight that they get, and the baking in that gravel really suits them well. They seed there well and flower reliably every year. Plenty of hollyhocks for later in the season coming through, just starting to emerge, the crowns coming, no sign of the flower spikes yet. That'll be another month off before they start shooting upwards, but they're looking healthy enough now. Well, there's a touch of rust on the underside of that leaf, look already. That one might have to go on the compost heap, that leaf, just to try and clean the rust on the plant for its figure later in the season. Got a little patch of celandines that have just naturalised themselves on the eastern aspect of the cottage, usually in quite deep shade this, they hardly get any sunshine at all, but flowering beautifully, and for a Sunday morning that'd be really pleasant. There's more of them on the opposite aspect of the drive here, under the old crab tree. I think I'm going to call it quits while I'm ahead with this wind really starting to lap up now. I don't think the sound quality is going to be up for much, so thanks for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed this flying visit to Gardeners Cottage here in Blakeney.